Robert Allen here. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. We have a very special guest today. We're talking that 90s show and of course a little bit about that 70s show with one of the stars, Don Stark. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of it with us today.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me. And please remain seated.
Everybody, please remain
Good
seated.
night. Okay. Trying
Good
to be
night. Thank you. Don't forget to tip your waiter. Um, well, congratulations on this. This is a lot of fun. We have had a couple other folks from this show, and I really wanted to talk to you because it's fun to see you back again in character. How fun was it to be a part of this? And it felt like a homecoming on so many levels, watching all of the original and legacy cast return for this show here on Netflix.
Yeah, it was great. It was a homecoming. I mean, as soon as I walked in, just seeing the sets, brought me back. And the interesting part about that is, it was a long time ago that we did that 70s show. So they had to rebuild the sets. They had to build new sets. There weren't any of the old sets that were available. So, but what an amazing job that they did. And I love the touch of using what was the furniture in the living room now moved to the basement. So
Yeah.
that was the shift. I don't know what happened to the other furniture that was down there. Actually, in real life, I have one of the tables
Oh,
that
really?
in the basement. Yeah. And all of Bob's clothes. I try not wear them on a regular basis.
You don't, like, if you're
Yeah,
going
wait
out
a
to
minute.
dinner, okay,
Oh,
there we go. The original
and
wig.
I think you know who that guy is.
Yes.
And I even have his special bow tie from when I got remarried to Midge, wearing my specially made Packers tuxedo.
That is so crazy. Yeah, and I did notice that. I was watching this and I did notice that the furniture had moved to the basement. If people watch this and they're diehard fans, they would probably catch that. That I thought that was a very special touch. And it just has all of the feelings, all of the things. It's rather ironic. In the 90s, you were filming the 70s, and now in the 2000s, you're filming the 90s. It was probably a no-brainer for you, I'm sure, when you got asked to return, because I mean, the show is, I feel, just a part of pop culture history. It's just, it's a very special show.
I've been an actor now for, I think, 49 years.
Okay.
And, after having the experience of being in the business for that long, you can tell when something has that magical feel to it. And I only felt it once before that 70s show. And that was on the set of Welcome Back, Kotter. You could feel by the audience response that that was going to be special. And then I never felt that again until the pilot of that 70s show. And when we did it in front of the audience, and it was different in kind from everything else. And I knew at that point, as much as you can know that something is going to be, at least you know that it resonated with people. But had great feelings about it. And 8 seasons later, we were still doing the show.
Yeah. I mean, to have a show like that or any show go that long is very special, because I think maybe some get 1, 2, 3 seasons maybe, and then that's it. But to go for 8 seasons, or maybe like a Grey's Anatomy that I think has been on longer than like Bonanza, is massive. But the 90s show is a lot of fun because it gives this younger cast an opportunity to tell a story about family and friendships and relationships, but also have your character Bob and Red and Kitty and all the others come back and really help drive the show as well. When you first found out that they were considering this, because it had been talked about for a while that they wanted to do something, but the question was, how do we do it? How do we make it right? Um, were you able to, did they come to you and say, hey, we're thinking about this? What are your thoughts? How did that process work initially for you?
Well, they didn't come to me. I mean, the key components of the show were Kurt Wood and Deborah Joe, who are not only the most talented, but just the nicest people you would ever want to meet in the world. And they were great mentors the first time around, and they're incredible mentors the second time around. Uh, so when I first heard that the show was being done, my family was going, "Oh, that's great. That sounds great." And I said, "All right, everybody, let's just take it easy.
Relax. This is LA,
A,
Hollywood.
I haven't gotten the phone call, and B, the check hasn't cleared. So let's just relax."
I love
So,
it.
so they came to me not long before I was filming the show. So I knew that the show was being filmed. So I didn't speak to them until right before that. And then I spoke to Greg Metler, who, was one of the writers on that 70s show years before, and spoke to him. And that was really the first talk we had. And he said, "Look, we've got this great story for Bob coming, back." And I read the script, and it was great. So it was like slipping on an old pair of slippers that are your most comfy ones, and so there was no transition time. It was immediate.
Yeah, I get that feeling. And I remember when I think it was a preview or a sizzle clip or something when your character came back and he's in the kitchen having the conversation with Deborah Joe. And I think you're bringing some food or something. And uh,
Oranges from
orange,
Florida.
oranges from Florida. And just that iconic humor that your character has. And that's one of the things that I enjoyed when I had the chance to watch this is that the comedic timing, not just with Deborah Joe and Kurtwood, but yourself and Ashton and everybody, it's like you just know how to lean into that humor that's being written and the timing and just even the physicality or the angles of your character. That makes sense, I'm sure, because it's just like you just know. And it's like no time has passed with everything that's taking place. And it's fun. We've had some of the younger cast on, but I was really excited to talk to you because you were part of the original. And I mean, just to have a show last that long is so cool. You mentioned Welcome Back, Kotter. I want to ask you about that because obviously, for me watching it in reruns and streaming and seeing your character, I get a feeling that show was lightning in a bottle because there just hasn't been anything like it since then. And it's not one that Hollywood or whoever has attempted to reboot. I don't think you could. It would just be impossible. And they've tried Head of the Class, and that was fun. But I think this one would be a bit of a challenge, at least from my perspective. I don't know.
Well, it was the story there was I was up for the role of Epstein. Okay, that was played by Bobby Hedges, and Bobby was great in it. But uh, they were bringing us the actors in, and I didn't get a call from my agent. Now, we didn't have cell phones then. There were
Email, none of
not
that.
even portable ones that you'd carry in the car that were like on a Flintstone car with the ribs on the top. This thing was gigantic. And so I didn't get the call until late. I showed up and they were doing mixing and matching, and I missed it all. And I walked in and I was devastated
Oh, wow.
that, they had already been doing it for hours and mixing people and everything. And I was just so disappointed. And they is the only job that I ever worked as an extra. They said, "Look, we really want you to, be on the show." So I was there for the pilot, and they asked me to come back doing an extra role after that night. And I just, I was so young and I didn't really, you know, I thought, well, no, that's not going to put me in good light. As it turns out, a lot of other actors who did that ended up getting some roles later on. But that was hung out all week long. We shot at CBS Studio in Beverly Hills, and we would go to the farmers market, all of us, all the actors, and we'd go over there for lunch. And when we got in front of the audience, there just was this electric feeling. And when John Travolta came out, is Barbarino, you know, up your nose with a rubber hose.
Classic
The
lines.
the audience just erupted, and that was the sign that you know a star was born, and the show was going to get a shot. And you know, life changed for a lot of people back then.
Yeah, it did. Well, I say you've had a very successful career
Yeah.
and you've been a part of a lot of different projects outside of the 70s show. And is there one moment, or maybe there's landmarks throughout your career where it just solidified for you, hey, this is something that I'm meant to be doing, and I'm so glad that I chose this, or it chose me, versus like maybe another profession that you could have had or parents wished you would have taken before they recognized the noticeable success.
Yeah. It was a struggle for probably the first, 10 years, not working consistently, but, pounding away. And I've done, let's see, the first series that I got was, oh, it was The Man in the Family. And that was with Ray Sharkey and Julie Bavasso. And, I played a guy named Cha Cha. This was an Ed Weinberger show.
Okay.
And, you know, Cha Cha was a guy that hung out all the time on the set of Taxi. And Ed Weinberger just got along with this guy so much and loved his stories. So so Cha Cha was a character that I played, with Ray Sharkey, and I remember one of his great lines. He was a dry cleaner, and they said, "Hey, I said I want to have a job like you, Sal." And he says, "You got a job. You're a dry cleaner." He says, "Being a dry cleaner, you know, things are fun when you're putting stains in, not when you're taking them out."
I love it.
And then I did other series as well. I was in Time Cop, which was a series based on the movie Time Cop,
I remember that.
and I played Matuzek, the head of the TEC. Some funny lines there too. It was always right before Logan was going to go back into the tunnel. It was like prepare for temporal insertion. It sounded kind of a little funny to me, but hey,
Some of the things that these people write, you're like,
right.
what?
And then I did Bless His House, which was with Andrew Dice Clay and Kathy Moriarty, and did a series more recently called Hit the Floor. And so I'd done a bunch and a bunch of recurring, stuff, but I don't know, it was magic. I started college. I did plays in high school,
Okay.
and I was football player, and I was in student government, and kind of on a dare. I tried out for a school play, and I got it. And then when I went to college, I started out as a business major because my family had instructed me that I was going to be a lawyer from the time that I was in kindergarten. And I, had such a fun experience doing the theater in high school. I walked over to the theater department, and the girls were prettier over there, and I just kind of never went back.
I've heard that many times. I did theater in middle school, high school, college, so that's where I found my people and connected and just felt a part of something. Well, one last question, Don. Again, you've had all of these very high marks in your career. Of course, we've talked about them, but my question would be, and again, in my view, and I'm sure others, you've had a lot of success outside of the hard work, the struggles that you mentioned earlier, the first 10 years not really working consistently. But what would you define as your success and your longevity? Is there one thing, or maybe it's multiple things, that you feel has helped you have a sustainable career as an actor and keep on working up until even this project, the 90s show, where you've been able to come back and bring back another iconic character?
Um, there was that special connection of how it started, and the feeling I got doing. I played Tevye on Fiddler on the Roof, and there was supposed to be in high school, and there was supposed to be an agent that ended up to be my first agent, but his car broke down, so he wasn't the top agent in town. Um, and that feeling that I had, and through the years, it kind of gets beaten down,
Sure.
by all the rejection, both being told you're rejected and then not hearing anything back. Um, and I guess that always just stayed with me. The joy when I on the set and working, that's the thing that lights me up, the spark. And I've played a lot of different characters. I played characters with different accents. I played bad guys, good guys, smart guys, not so smart guys. And it just, that's enjoyable to me. It's enjoyable, the working process. The auditioning and the business side of it is always a challenge because I've never had the leverage to be in a position where, oh, that's who we're looking for. I always had to kind of make myself what they were looking for, which is great as a character actor. But when you keep thinking about, oh man, I could be doing something else and making as much money, if not more money, but would it fulfill that little that spark inside? So they tried to kill it. They tried to put that spark out, but
and here you are fighting. Just
they called me Sparky, I guess.
Thank you. Well, congratulations again. It was fun to see you come back on this the 90s show, and of course that 70s show as well, which is all available to stream on Netflix at the moment. Exciting things for you again. An overnight success that has taken years and years and years to
one hell of a night.
One hell of a night. And you said Time Cop. That's funny because that's like one that they haven't. I had the TV show, but that's one film. That was Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? Vehicle that.
Yes.
Okay. And I remember, again, I'm not sure how, but I do remember watching the series. It's always fun to see that those type of stories continue, but that's one that they haven't attempted to remake yet. So
we only did 9 episodes.
Yeah, it wasn't on very long.
We were in doing the 9th episode when we got canceled. So we had to finish doing that one. But you know when things are going to happen when they're not.
Yeah.
And,
the writing's on.
The Critics Association always has these big things right at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And so we're at the Ritz, I think, in Pasadena.
The upfronts, right?
And you see the one sheets, the posters, just like your backdrop right there for the show. And we're going through the whole thing. There was no one sheet
For
for
time.
time.
Oh no.
And so we were lost.
Oh,
It had been
horrible.
picked up by a previous group of people at Universal. And then it was sold to ABC, and the people at ABC were gone. So there was nobody kind of minding the store that had a stake in it because it wasn't their idea.
Wow.
So that was kind of an indication like, yeah, maybe you won't buy the house now.
Yeah. Don't stop. Hey, have them stop building the swimming pool.
That's right.
Yeah, don't build the pool yet. Don't build the pool yet. Well, congratulations on everything and just a wonderful career. Thank you for your time and graciousness, Don, and chatting today. I really do appreciate